What's up guys, I'm Ivan Tedesco. We're out here at Paula Raceway doing the 2014 450 Shootout. Yeah, the Suzuki I felt kind of the same as the Kawi. Is a good all-around bike, does everything really well, good power. I like the way it cornered a lot, it leans a little bit easier than the Kawi. Then the forks, I felt I was getting a little head shake every once in a while on the forks. I think with some tuning, I think you could get the forks to work well, and I think the bike's awesome. I think it's got a good motor package, chassis is good. With some fine tuning to what you like, I think it could be a really good bike. I was really impressed with the KTM 350. First time ever riding one today, and I wasn't expecting it to have as much power as it did have. It still has quite a bit of torque, and you can rev the thing to the moon. It really is kind of in between a 250 and a 450. I would say more so like a 250, but it has plenty of power. And honestly, on a track like today where it's not real deep or like Red Bud or something like that, I think the bike could be an advantage. I think you could go as fast or faster on it. The KTM 450 definitely has the most power. I would say the best engine. It has lots of torque. You can kind of ride the bike however you want. You could rev it, you could short shift it, and chassis I think needs a little bit of work. On the 450, it's a little heavy feeling. I still think it's a really good bike. For a smaller guy like me, sometimes I don't have that leverage that some bigger guys would have to maybe make the bike work, but overall I think a really good bike. The Honda 450, I like how light it feels. It's really flickable, really easy bike to ride. I don't get along with those forks for some reason. I get a little bit twitch, a lot of twitch in the front end, especially on higher speed stuff. On the slow speed stuff, I felt super comfortable. The bike's really easy to corner, really light. I'd like to say on the Yamaha, it felt really heavy. So I felt like I was getting tired on that thing, where on the Honda was super easy to ride, and I didn't feel like I got fatigued as much as some of the heavier bikes. Yeah, the Yamaha to me, I raced one in 2010. Still kind of feels like it has similar characteristics. They have made some changes and it feels better. It felt like there was too much weight on the front end, and they did put some more oil in the forks, and that helped it a lot. Before it was getting too low in the front and it was getting really twitchy. Once they got that fixed, the bike was way better, and yeah, it felt pretty good. I didn't really get along with it that well. It's kind of a bigger bike, heavy, and for a smaller guy like me, I just didn't quite get along with it. Felt the most comfortable on the Kawi 450. The front end just feels the most stable all around. Some of the other bikes I'll get a little bit twitchy on the front end, and I steer off the front a lot, so that front end stability is huge for me. And just the Kawi's a pretty good all around bike. It's got good power, corners pretty well. The only negative I see on the Kawi is the gearbox. I seem to get stuck in between first and second gear in some of the slower speed corners, and overall I thought it was the best bike.
Hey, I'm Daron Rahlves, professional snow skier out here at Paula Raceway, and we're doing the 2014 Racer X 450 Shootout. All right, of all the bikes, the one that stood out was the Honda 450. Mostly it just felt really predictable. Felt smooth, great in the corners, felt really balanced on it. It's a slim feel, and I think I'm looking more for the comfort and how everything kind of flows, and it was a nice flowing bike. Great power everywhere, a smooth motor as well as the handling. The Kawasaki 450, really strong pull. It was a beast. The thing was awesome, going up the hills here at Paula. Everything felt pretty good, except for me, it was just kicking pretty high, coming into the braking bumps and the turns. I didn't do any adjusting on it, so maybe could have figured that thing out, but overall that was, I'd say, number 2 for me. And then going down the list, I really like the KTM 350. It's a little underpowered compared to the 450s, obviously, but it felt really good. It was sticking in the corners nice, it was laying over. It was a bike you could really have a lot of fun on. You could ride it hard. If you do make a mistake, you don't have that forgiveness to just get back on the throttle and have that torque like you do with a 450, so I was missing out on a few spots there by making mistakes, but it was a really fun bike, and at the end of the day, it was actually probably one of the bikes, a little easier time riding it. Next one was KTM 450. It felt like, there's tons of power there, it was smooth. I tried a few starts, I really liked it. It pulled really awesome, killer front brakes for both the KTMs. The 450 though just felt a little bigger. I know it's only like 3 pounds, maybe 2 or 3 pounds more than the 350, but something feels a little different. And I feel the corners, it was kind of a consistent thing I was having where I was coming through the corner and finishing the turn, and it was coming up on me, high siding a little bit, and I just wasn't feeling comfortable just keeping it laid over. Next one, Yamaha 450. It was the first bike I got on today. Really smooth track. I was out there, one of the first guys out there, and felt really smooth and nice. I mean, obviously the track was in prime condition, and then I got back on it later in the day and felt like it was just a little big feeling. It had a lot of torque and awesome pull, like really strong motor, hits hard, but it was just one of those bikes I just couldn't get comfortable on. So that's kind of where I ranked that, like down there. Suzuki for me just didn't work right, like in the handling. It was really twitchy. The front end just was pushing a little bit. It was more work to really kind of get to stick in the turns and come through a corner real nice and smooth. It obviously has a lot of power. I mean, these bikes aren't, for me, they're all really close. And so it's really hard to kind of like put these bikes in ranking, but to say just on the handling side, the Suzuki was the toughest to kind of like deal. I was always battling it a little bit in the corners.